Hey guys, hi. This is Agunda, a fellow at CCC. I'd like to talk about a recent trip I took to Montgomery, Alabama, where I went to the Legacy Museum from Brian Stevenson, renowned lawyer, civil rights activist, and his organization, Equal Justice Initiative. So the museum is really great. When you enter the space, you're immediately immersed in all kinds of interactive material. There's pictures, there's written material in really creative ways, there's digital material, there's maps, a lot of interactive materials, a lot of different ways to get a kind of memorializing of different civil rights and kind of human rights activists from the African American lineage. So you're able to kind of get this really clear picture of particularly African American relationships to the state, from the period of colonialism to our modern kind of American society. So when you look at America's relationship to Black people from colonial times of chattel slavery to the Civil War and Reconstruction, through to civil rights period, through to the war on drugs, and through to this moment right now with the prison industrial complex, it's clear, if you didn't know it already, that there is this relationship to the exploitation and use of Black bodies in order to have capital gain. And when you actually see that so clearly and blaringly kind of laid before you, it becomes irrefutable to actually acknowledge that if we do not actually contend with our past, we're doomed to repeat it. A pattern that you see in the museum that's really clear is that whenever there are these periods of transformation, whether it's a period between colonial America and the Civil War into a period where African Americans are free and are trying to have their own self-determination, or you look at the civil rights period and the backlash after that with our modern prison industrial complex, the war on drugs and what have you, there's this constant kind of back and forth. Black people gain certain rights and there's a backlash. Black people gain certain rights and there's a backlash. And I think that's something that if we don't acknowledge that pattern exists, like we're seeing now with the kind of rights that have been gained in the modern 21st century, and how we're dealing with an administration that seems to be regressive and taking us into the past, saying things about how great the past used to be. If we don't actually acknowledge that we have this pattern in this country of repeating ourselves because we do not acknowledge our own history of racism and white supremacist violence, state-sponsored violence, we will repeat these mistakes. And I think what's so amazing about the Legacy Museum is that when you go there and you're able to actually see this history laid bare, you know that the only way we're actually going to get through this is by acknowledging our past and confronting it clearly and without any form of confusion.